A deer quickly sprang into action, coming to the woman's aid and rescuing her from an attacker. The world can be very unsafe, especially for women at night. There are bad people like muggers and kidnappers who want to hurt others or steal from them. Fortunately, for one woman, an unexpected savior came to help her. This story happened back in 2012 on a Saturday night. People were getting ready to have fun with their friends, relieved after a tough week of work. Among them was a young woman from Oxford, Ohio, in the U.S. She had been eagerly waiting for the weekend to relax and enjoy herself. Her week at work had been challenging. Her boss gave her lots of assignments to finish in time for a monthly review meeting. She worked hard all week, staying up late into the early hours of the morning to gather the right information and statistics to show how well her company was doing. However, despite her hard work and attention to detail, her boss still found flaws in her work and publicly criticized her in front of her coworkers. Because of his disrespectful behavior, the Ohio woman was eager to put her horrible boss behind her and enjoy a carefree night of dancing. Little did she know what would unfold just hours after the party. That Saturday started like any ordinary weekend. The woman woke up and allowed herself to sleep in a bit, considering she had earned it. Regardless of her boss's criticisms, she had poured her heart into making the company meeting as successful as possible. If her boss couldn't recognize her efforts, it was his own fault. After relaxing at home until the afternoon, the woman treated herself to a delightful meal at a local restaurant she adored. They served the best sandwiches she had ever tasted. Following her lunch, she bought some items she needed for the night and withdrew cash from a nearby ATM. When she felt fully prepared, she headed back home to get dressed and put on makeup for the night ahead. As the evening came around, the woman got dressed in a tight-fitting knee-length dress, along with some black high-heeled boots. Just as she was finishing off her makeup, she heard her front doorbell ring. Knowing that it was her friends and excited to see them, the woman quickly hurried down the stairs and let them inside. All of the women, a group of about 5, including the Ohio woman, were excited to start the night. They decided that before going out, they would have a few pre-drinks in the house in order to save a little bit of money instead of paying for the expensive drinks in the clubs and bars. Before long, the group of women were all tipsy and ready to finally head out. The Ohio woman made sure to grab her purse before following her friends out. At first, the group of women made their way to a local bar. They made their way inside and quickly found a table, determined not to be left standing around as the bar filled up with other people looking for a good night out. The group of women ordered themselves some drinks before a couple of them decided to get up and dance on the nearby dance floor. Meanwhile, the Ohio woman talked to her friends, telling them everything that had happened between her and her boss that week. Feeling sympathetic to her, the women's friends quickly bought her a few more drinks to try and help her forget all about the terrible meeting and her stupid boss. Before long, the group of women made their way out of the bar and headed to a party in the 500 block of Poplar Street in Oxford. As the night wore on, the Ohio woman noticed that her friends either found someone to dance with, spent the night with, or decided that they were too tired to stay awake and headed home. Soon enough, the Ohio woman herself decided that she was done for the night and that she was finally ready to simply collapse into her soft and warm bed and sleep until she felt better. After saying goodbye to her friends who were still at the party, the woman headed outside and began to walk down the sidewalk. It was roughly 1 a.m., and she had decided not to call a cab as she wasn't too far from her home, and she thought that the fresh air might sober her up a little bit. But then something terrifying happened. As she walked close to a field that contained overgrown grass and some trees, a male attacker grabbed her from behind and pulled on the purse that hung around her shoulders, effectively choking her with her own purse. The attacker then punched her in the head as well, in the hopes that he would daze and confuse the woman enough for him to take her purse and run away. During the struggle, the man pulled the woman away from the lights of the party and the neighborhood and further into the darkness of the field. It was at this moment, though, that something happened that neither the woman nor the attacker were expecting. All of a sudden, A deer jumped up from the nearby patch of grass, startling the attacker. Scared of what was suddenly emerging from the grass, the attacker let go of the woman and bolted away from the scene. Unbeknownst to him, the deer had also done the same, just in the opposite direction. The deer jumped up and ran, and so did he, said Police Sergeant John Varley, adding that in 17 years on the force, he'd never heard a story quite like that. The sergeant believed that the deer had been sleeping in the brush when the sudden commotion started, awake and scared that it was being attacked. It bounded from the bushes, accidentally saving the woman from being harmed any more than she had already been. The woman suffered some red marks on her face and some bruising, but was otherwise fine after the deer and her attacker ran away. The woman was left in the dark field all by herself. She looked around, unsure about what had actually just happened to her. 1 minute she was being attacked, and then next, the man was running off, and a deer was saving her. Despite being shaken up from her experience, the woman couldn't help but laugh in shock at what had happened. When she shared her story, nobody believed her. Summoning her courage once more, she discreetly and cautiously returned to the party. There, she managed to contact the police and recount her terrifying experience. Her friends, who were still at the party, noticed her return and her distressed state. They ensured she was all right. After providing a statement to the police about the incident, they escorted her home, ensuring her safety and protection from further harassment. Sometimes, being at the right place at the right time isn't only something humans can achieve. If it weren't for this deer, the woman's situation could have been much worse. Thankfully, her assailant turned out to be easily frightened and ran off when the deer suddenly appeared, surprising both of them. Always remember to stick with your friends during a night out and be cautious around strangers. It's crucial never to venture off alone, regardless of the circumstances. Take care of one another and ensure everyone gets home safely. What do you think of this deer? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.